to this one because this is a really juicy chapter. Chapter
Brother,
1153,
1153, the birth of Loki.
the birth of Loki.
Brother, okay, so let's. I don't want to hop
So
forward without talk about certain stuff. So let's just kind of go from top to bottom. Let's
right, yeah,
talk
yeah. Let's
about.
start with the very, very, very beginning.
Let's talk. Let's start with the cover story.
All right, so we got Yamato. I don't know who's hugging her. Who is that?
That's Kiko. That's Kiku.
All right, what are your thoughts on the cover story?
I mean, as I've told you, I'm kind of tired of the cover stories when it comes to Yamato. I told you this last chapter
Right.
because now this is this is cover story 37. We have basically almost 40 cover stories of Yamato. I love Yamato as a character, but I'm kind of sick of the cover stories
I mean, but
personally.
what else would they talk about? You see what I'm saying?
What do you mean? We could talk about what's going on when it comes to, in my eyes, bro, Sen Goku and what's that girl's? What's the lady's name? It starts with a T. I don't. I'm getting. I'm Granddad. Stop it! Jesus Christ! Don't say that. Jesus Christ, Granddad. This is being recorded. Yeah.
What did he say?
Jesus. I ain't saying what he said because that's gonna get us stricken down on and with the YouTube gods, bro. They gonna strike us down if I tell you what he said.
All right. Well,
Goddamn.
this time I guess I'm gonna have to look.
Granddad, stop it.
I don't
Stop
know
it,
what he's
Granddad.
saying, but I can't make out what he's saying, but it's hilarious. All right, so continue.
So as far
Holy
as
Child
the
Yamato, the Holy Inari Shrine pilgrimage. He
mhm,
oh,
Kuku Nojo,
Dai
Kiku Nojo, Daniel
Ringo.
of Ringo,
So
and
what's
Boss Cho.
all right? I mean, overall, honestly, the cover stories are whatever, but the way Oda does it, it's like it'll be more meaningful later. It'll be like, yo, that cooked like later.
Yeah, but how I consider Yamato to be the Odin that we have right now, if that
Fair.
makes sense. So Odin, if we would have gotten if we would have gotten Odin right now, right?
Right?
Yamato is playing the same. She's playing the same thing that Odin would have played if um, Goldie Roger was the current main character
Right.
to some extent. This cover story doesn't, how I see it, this cover story really don't matter, dog.
All right.
And
All
I'm
right, let's move
standing
on to
on
the
that.
chapter. I disagree. I think all cover stories matter, but
Well, they matter, like all cover stories matter, but
but
I
I can
will
see how
make it,
you
I
can say
was,
this one isn't as exciting as some of the others.
well, it's not so much about it being as exciting because, and I'm put it like this, Enel's cover story that we got
You're just such an email
fucking,
stan. Like every
but,
freaking podcast you bring this guy up. He hasn't been relevant for like 20 years.
but his cover story matters more than what's going on with Yamato right now, and I don't think you can make an argument to argue otherwise.
Well, I wouldn't even want to. I like to me
Like,
it's
bro,
neither here
we
nor
didn't
there.
even know about the space pirates until Enel's cover story. Space pirates was not a thing before Enel's cover story. That's when we learned so much about what's going on. Like, bro, go back and like, I'm not saying that you haven't seen Enel's cover stories. I don't know, but I remember reading per chapter, seeing Enel's cover stories. Them motherfuckers matter. This dude was like, you know what? Fuck this planet. I'm gonna go to the moon.
We're going to the moon, baby.
You know what I'm saying? He said we're going to the moon. Like I might not be able to rule over this planet, but I'm gonna rule over something,
Well, I don't know about rule, but
brother.
he didn't go up there
Okay,
to rule.
yo, fool. Read the cover story.
All right,
Read
why are we
Enel's
talking
cover
about that
story
old ass cover story when we could be talking about Loki right now?
because you're trying to denigrate
No,
what
you
this
just
nigga
love
Loki was
talking about
going through.
Anel, bro. That's just say that. Damn, you just love that
Bro,
nigga.
look how I see it. Enel means more to the story than Yamato.
I don't know about that either.
Oh,
He
okay.
was
That's
literally
fair.
Ace's love interest. Was she not?
Who? Who?
Ace Yamato.
Yamato? No, you're wrong. In my point of view.
Oh,
But this is
I'm
something that
hundred
could be.
percent not sure.
This is something that could be talked about later on,
Right,
especially with where we're at right now when it comes to the story of One Piece. This is something we could talk about in like a year or two.
okay,
What mattered more, Yamato's cover story or Enel's cover story? Right?
right.
I think that's fair to say. You know,
Yeah. We'll bring
we
that up
look.
later. Now,
Yeah.
before we lose
Right
our
now,
audience, we've been on this thing for 10 minutes and we haven't even said anything about Loki yet.
well, we haven't been on it for 10 minutes. We haven't been on the Enel versus Yamato thing for 10 minutes.
I know
I'm not
it's
gonna
a
let you do
joke, but
that.
it's literally been
Yeah,
seven
I see what
minutes.
you're doing,
It's literally been seven
which is
minutes.
true.
Close enough.
Yeah, but
All right,
I'm
so
not
look,
gonna argue with that.
so the chapter
So
starts off right.
Dory and Brogy
They're wild
shared a
child.
wild childhood with Harold,
I ruled.
the Prince of Elbaf. So I think we can definitely say Harold obviously is maybe about 10 to 15 years in Elbaf time older than than what they're at right now.
Right? Yeah. He's like he's king. You know, he's a little bit older than them. Like
Well,
he
he's a
could.
prince at the time. He's not king, he's a prince.
Yeah, and he seems to be like bored of his strength in a way. He's just like everything outside of Elbaf sucks.
Yes, yes. Because we don't know what his dad was. Now, how I see it, his dad definitely was an ancient giant or had ancient giant blood
Yeah,
flowing through him.
something.
Now, if you want to say that his dad was an ancient giant, I think it'd be fair to say that
No, he definitely
a
was.
very he was at least 50% at least. But if we're looking at it from this chapter, if we look at this chapter for what it is, his dad might have been 100%
Ancient
ancient
Giant.
giant.
Yo, because
Yes.
he's huge. He's fucking huge. Did you see the panel? Like, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But there's a panel where he literally just is holding a ship in his
Yeah,
palm.
but even when we look at the first page with Dory and Brogy,
He's like the size. Like,
he's
how big
bigger
is
than
that
both
ship that
of
they're
them.
on?
Yes, he's big. Well, no, even right now, even if they are relative to the same, if even if they are relatively the same age, King Harold, Prince Harold at this particular time, he's bigger than Dory and Brogy.
Yeah. He's huge. Yeah. He's
He's
so
massive.
so Harold has so much character development in this chapter.
Oh my God, yes. And I think this chapter shows us that Loki is Loki and King Harold have so much more in common than what we have seen up until this point.
Right.
There's so much more in common. The only reason King Harold The only reason he came out to the way that he is right now is because of Hadrudi's mom.
So like one thing I love about Hadrun's mom in the third panel, right, when you're seeing the circus, is how like everybody seems to be like terrified, right? Like they're all
Hmm.
afraid. And then there's just
They're scared
one
of the
dude.
get.
There's just one dude that's smiling. He's having a good time.
So
Like
hold on. Let's go through the panels as they are. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
no, we're not. Like it's literally the next panel is the dude.
Well, no, I'm saying like let's go through the panels.
Oh, all right. So you're saying like, yeah, yeah, we should be on the what is it called?
So
The circus.
I'm what I'm saying is let's talk about let's read the panels as they come, and every 2 to 3 pages, let's talk about it from that point of view.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so the first panel that we got, Dory and Brogy shared a wild childhood with Harald, the Prince of Elbaf, born into a bloodline of ancient giants. The prince possessed a colossal body, monstrous strength, and high status. He grew into an arrogant and unruly rogue that no one could rein in. Then we come in from that point, we see Harold saying, "What a bore. Everybody outside of Elbaf is pathetically weak and puny. Ain't that right, guys?"
Exactly,
Exactly,
sire.
sire. It's
Yeah,
just as
it's
you
such kiss
say.
asses.
The kingdom of Bunt, the new world. Come one, come all. No diddy.
No, no, but check this out. But before you read that next part, I just noticed that they're literally the size of his boot, of his foot.
Yeah, most of the el- ancient giants are 2/3 larger than the giants that we see right now, for sure.
All right, now, all right, go ahead, go ahead. The next panel.
So again, the kingdom of Bunt, new world. Come one, come all.
No diddy.
Standing 10 meters tall. Each of her steps is an earthquake. Her
Mm.
roar is thunder itself. She's one
Mm.
of the world's elusive giants, hailing all the way from the land of Elbaf. Take a gander at Ida. And she roars. We have people who are not giants. We have normal people running. But what I will put out there, we have a father and a daughter. The daughter is terrified, but her father is
Is happy.
holding her, smiling.
He's like the only one happy to be there.
Yes.
He's the only one.
Now,
Everybody else is running.
all of the other parents, grown adults, they're terrified, but not him.
Yeah,
Now,
he's the
here's
only
what
one. He's
I'm gonna
geeked up.
say. I'm gonna hit you with something that you might have not thought of.
What?
The guy who is holding his daughter, smiling, he looks like Rayleigh.
He looks like who?
Rayleigh.
Right. Oh, no shot. That would be so. That would
Look
be
at him.
wicked.
Look at him. He looks like Rayleigh. I'm not saying that this is going to be something that is a hand to hand, but
That would be wicked though. I'll give you that.
he's dead smack center of this entire panel. He's the deathmatch center of the panel. We cannot dispute that.
Yeah. There's definitely attention put on him. I thought it was
Exactly.
there to be like like an Easter egg to kind of show you that she's not as like the way they're trying to make her seem, you know, like
Yes,
she's
which is true.
the bad
Yes,
guy.
yes.
I thought they were setting it up as more of an Easter egg for that to say
Which
like,
which
hey,
could be
not
possible.
everything is as it seems.
Yes, yes. Let that'll unfold in later panels of the chapter. But like I said, when you look, if you just look at
If
him,
you just look at it for what it is, one for one, he is in the middle. He is the focus frame.
yeah, he is in the middle. But if you put a picture of Rayleigh next to him, you could not tell me that Rayleigh does not resemble what this guy looks like. At least in this
Dark
particular
King
moment right
Rayleigh,
here.
the guy who trained Luffy,
Yes,
that guy. I
yes.
mean, all right. I mean, I'll give it to you, but come on, let's keep it. Let's keep going.
So everybody else we see screaming, they're terrified. Get away from the cage. It's dangerous. Then we see it takes balls to turn one of us giants into a roadside attraction. Then right after that, we see uh bada ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
Yeah ha ha
I
ha
love
ha
that
ha.
so much.
We see
Blah.
that we see that these giants, this particular fighting pirate group, ruined this island. They were fools to mock Eldad. We sure showed them.
Yeah, you
Who
did.
are you? Who are you? No need to thank me. I am the king of
Yeah.
Elbaf. I couldn't just sit back while they slighted my homeland. And then we see her smack the dog shit out of
What if I
King
make a sad
Harald.
face?
Your Majesty, your Majesty, King Harold. We see Harold holding his cheek. Huh?
It's like no way.
Huh?
Yo, she smacked the dog shit out of him for real. And look, his
The
face.
face that he has
Yo, that is a
looking at
meme,
her.
bro. That right, yo, I'm gonna clip that and make that a meme. That's definitely a
He
meme.
is looking like, not like how dare you, but he is like, the way that he's looking at her in that moment is the way that a child would look at their
Like,
mom.
he is so baffled. Like, what?
Like, I can't believe you did this right now. He has a tear coming out of his eye.
Bro never
There's a
expected to
tear
get
coming
smacked
out.
like that in his whole life. He never ever expected that to happen.
That wasn't something that he would have thought would happen. And she says, turn this ship around. You need to apologize. A lot of people got hurt. Are you crazy? You want to turn back to the puny doll kingdom? And she screams, you want me to rough you up? And then you have somebody else screaming, King Harold, they took me in and gave me work after they found me adrift on the brink of death. Thanks to their kindness, I was able to earn enough to eat and recover from my injuries.
Real.
Little dolls? What the hell is that supposed to mean? You were just you just happened to be born big. Your strength is a quirk of fate. Telling King Harold the only reason that you have this God given ability is because of the size that you have, not because
Like he
of
bro
who
said, you're
you
not
are.
special.
Yes, don't kid yourself into thinking you're better than the humans. You arrogant disgrace. This kind of crap is why all us other giants are always lumped in with you Elbaf savages. You're a fucking savage. You're a savage. This isn't God. This is what she's telling him. This is based off of the lottery. You're basically the only reason you can act the way that you're acting right now is based off of a lottery ticket.
He's like, you just got lucky in the gene pool.
This isn't because you are who you are.
No, I love the fact
You're
that she's
not the
like,
shit.
yo, when I was on the brink of death, those are the people that saved me.
Not a giant. Not a giant saved me. These normal humans who you look down upon because of how you were born the way that you are, they saved me. Your people, us as giants, you didn't save me. They
Yeah,
did.
crazy, man.
And then right after that, I don't know if this is, I would take this as King Harold. This is like a thought bubble. I was just born big.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was
100%.
just born big. This wasn't
Like
something
he's almost
bestowed onto me.
reflecting. He's like, nobody's ever talked to me
Exactly.
like that, and this is the first time I've ever thought about
No,
this.
and beyond that, no one's treated him the way that he was being treated in said moment.
Mm-hmm.
He was never treated like he was just a person. We
Mm.
can look back at even just in the panels in this chapter. Look at how everybody is. Look at their face. No way! This was the Giants being terrified at the fact that, yo, you just smacked our prince. You just smacked him. You didn't give a fuck about the status that you had,
Like she
the
put
status
hands
that
on
he
him for
has.
real.
She smacked him.
She was ready for the fisticuffs.
And then the panel right after that, he says, like I said, I was just born big. We see his face right after that.
Right? He's
It's like
reflecting.
he's biting his lip to. It's like he's
That
biting
then
his lip.
that slap still hurt. He about to cry. No, I'm just kidding. But so
Well,
in
to
the
some extent, but it forces him to kind of look at it from a different perspective.
yeah, he's having character
The
growth.
only
Like he's
reason, yeah,
literally thinking. Like he's literally like,
he
okay, all
has to
right,
change his perspective.
right. He's
He
like,
doesn't have a choice.
I might be. Maybe things aren't. Maybe everything isn't the way it seems. Type shit.
Exactly. The only reason I can act the way that I've been acting is because of the size that I was granted by God, by Nika, depending on how you want to look at it, especially when it comes to this particular story. But then we see King Harold, are we setting C? What are you guys spacing out for? Huh? Help them rebuild you imbeciles. That miniature model city of theirs. Yes, sir. Everybody is running towards the group. They're running towards the island to help them rebuild.
Right.
Their construction techniques are completely different. Will teach you some of the stuff from when you got back. When well, hold on. Their construction techniques are completely different. Dot dot dot. We'll teach you some of the stuff from when you were we'll teach you some stuff from for when you get back to Elbaf. Your uses your use of spices is something too. I never eaten anything with this much flavor before.
Right. So it's like he's entering into like culture trade.
This is just I don't want to
It's like
say
it's like
right now, but
expansive of his entire like world view.
it's a different perspective of his worldview.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's getting into like trade. Like, oh, other cultures do this same thing differently.
Other cultures have benefits to them, even though they might not live the same way that we live.
Yes. It's so wonderful, man. It's so good.
And the quality of your fabrics, which is a second half of what was being said by them. We see Harold looking at, I don't, well, at this particular point, we don't see what her name is, but it's Ida. That is her name. We
Right
see
on.
him looking at her. He's darker than she is, which isn't necessarily a problem. But in the aspect of what we're looking at right now, he is closer to this to said point of view than she is.
Very cool.
We see her extending a hand to the king of said land. They're so sophisticated. Humans are humans sure are good with their hands, showing that no, just because they're people, they know how to cook, they know how to make certain fabrics, they know how to do certain things that we as giants we are not accustomed to because our this is not how we live.
Tony just got back.
No problem. And as she got back, my phone actually disconnected from
I'm
the
still recording, so we're good.
yeah, I'm still recording on my end as well.
All right, so I love the fact that in the next panel, like, because the first thing I thought about was like, talk about, like, literally my words were, talk about a woman that can bring you to your knees. So, but in the very
Yeah.
next panel, bro is just straight getting sturdy.
Not only that, he's doing the Nika dance.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
the
that
dance of Nika.
I guess that's the new shit. That's that new. That's that. Yeah, Loki. We need to make that like a real dance on the TikTok or something. That shit might slap. It could trend if we did it well enough.
I mean, you can do that, but like I told you, bro, my face ain't finna be on the internet right now. What we
All
talking
right, no,
about?
no, no. Yeah, 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 yeah. We can keep it pushing. All right, so he's like, look at this. Look. All right, look at it like this, Harold. The destruction of anything in this world is a waste. Bars,
Yes,
bars.
because it's forcing him to look at it like just because you're stronger than XYZ people doesn't mean that you have to subjugate them.
Right. Doesn't mean you're better.
Exactly,
And
especially if
King
you're
Harold's like, it actually does mean I'm better, guys. No, no, for real.
especially when we look at it from the point of view that he was being raised with.
True.
Because he's a prince, he comes from royalty. He is not an average, even he's not even an average giant. He is not he's not a by
He's
all
not
intents
average
and
anything.
purposes. He's not an average person. He is above average.
Right.
So no, you can even make an argument truthfully to say that the type of mentality that he has is like a celestial dragon would how a celestial dragon would view themselves.
Oh, just like better than everyone?
I'm better than you because of how I was born. But that's where Ida comes in and was like, yo, no, you're
Like,
not
to the
better than
reality
them.
check, bro.
You're just bigger than they are. You're not better than these people.
Hey, my boy said I'm the biggest. the largest.
Truthfully,
But yeah, no, he really did. This is what I mean by he had this moment of character growth because now he's able to see
yes,
beyond himself, which is really
this
good.
is where this is
And
where we
think
see.
about the 180 view we have of him, where like at the end of last chapter, we're like, this guy's scum. To
No, he's
in this
scum. That is,
chapter,
I go ahead. My bad, my
in
bad.
this chapter, being like, okay, he's had a come to Jesus moment. He's not as bad as he once was, and it's like over the years because like throughout this chapter, we have we cover what 100 years, 50 years or something.
Yeah, I feel like Oda is using this chapter. He's skipping through to hurry up and finish a story.
I wouldn't
Now,
say finish, but it's just to give you the
he's
scope.
what not the flashback. He's trying to hurry up and finish this flashback for what it is.
Right,
Hadruden, for all intents and purposes, for how the in King Harold's heart of heart, he's more like Hadruden than he is like Loki, if that makes sense.
right.
Hadruden is more, if we look at Harold for what he actually is, he's more like Hadruden than he is like Loki. But we can touch more about that as we get into the chapter.
Like so, keep going.
So we see, look at it, look at it like this, Harold. The destruction of the destruction of anything in this world is a waste.
Right.
I was born. Now this is talking about the lady who we met, who
This
is
is
also a
Sa.
giant.
It's Sam. All right. It's Samuanai.
Samuwanai.
Samuanai.
Samuwanai.
Hi.
I was born on Samuwanai
Hi.
Island in the South Blue.
Yep. Right.
One thing led to another. One thing led to another, and I ended up at these seas.
Samuanai.
You went over the blood-soaked serpent. Are you talking about the red line? Well, I did, but I can't go back now. Come back to Elbath. We're not as savage as you think.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I judged you too harshly. King Harold has really changed.
Yep. This is his redemption
It's
arc. You
time.
know.
It's well. Let me finish this particular panel before we start talking about it, because I like we go through like half a panel and then we start talking about what we're talking about. So we see people in his pirate crew. King Harold has really changed. It's kind of creepy. Hopefully, it's just a phase. Elbath, 105 years later. Up until now, we've committed countless sins, and it's time we atone for them. What's wrong with you, King Harold? As king, I intend to frequently travel overseas. I hope to extend a hand of reconciliation to our neighbors and learn from their cultures. Our land can become more prosperous if we learn from the world. Dory, Brogy, Dory, Brogy, and the others will never stop running wild. Wahahaha.
Yeah.
I go way back with those two. They have they always had an unusual deposition. They've never
Disposition.
failed to treat humans fairly and honorably. We see somebody in the background screaming. That's true.
That's true. Ain't that right? Yo. Yeah. Yeah.
We
It's
can
like,
still hold onto our honorable our honor our excuse me. We can still hold on to our warrior ways, right? We may have to reconsider some traditions if other countries feel threatened.
Right, yeah. He's like revamping how he does things in Elbath,
Exactly.
all because of the influence of this young
Yes.
lady.
Za ba ba ba. What a change. Bo ja
Zah,
ja.
bah, 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 bah.
Seems there's a tumultuous journey ahead. Harold.
Tumultuous.
Harold is no. Elbath is blessed.
Blessed.
We'll stop it right there.
Blessed. Yeah, it's
This is
great.
showing that the woman who Harold truly was in love with changed his heart as a person.
Yes. So
It showed him that, yo, I might have been raised a certain way, and this might be what I want to do based off of heritage. But this does not mean that this is how I need to live my life just because of how I was raised
solid.
or based off of the culture
He's like,
that I was
I've been
raised off of.
introduced to a new way of doing things, and it's better than how I was doing things. So I'm gonna make the pivot. And that's what he
Yes,
did.
it's showing him that, yo, maybe I don't need to do it the way that kind of like what you said. I was raised upon XYZ. That doesn't mean that this is going to be the best way to get certain things
I was
across
blind,
to
but
other
now I
people.
see.
Blind to a certain extent, right?
No, that's an
He was
idiom.
blind to a certain
It's
extent.
an idiom. It's an idiom.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. So the next page, though, the next page we get into like him like experiencing diplomacy. You know,
Brother, but I wanted to talk about what we was talking about, you know what I'm saying, to kind of touch on that eh, before we skipped over that particular page or panel. Because the next panel, I feel like this is going to be something that shows that, in a way, you think you know something until you're forced to actually look at it for what it is, right?
what
So, I mean, if we're going to just kind of
I loved
now,
how like what is her name? What's the girl who he rescued, or that was in the circus? What's her name?
Idra.
Idra. I love how it's almost like him and Idra are like in this rom com fucking love story. They're going on dates. They're dancing together. They're like they're self amused by like these little people.
Well,
It's
I'll tell you
it's
this.
such a cool story.
I'll tell you this. This is something that I don't feel like as of right now, because I haven't watched anybody else talk about. I haven't watched any other medium of content for 1153.
Right?
This is the difference between the culture of Elbath and the culture of the Giants. Saul is a prime example of what I'm getting at, because how
Oh
Saul looked
yeah.
at the Giants of Elbath, he's seeing them as just like, bro, y'all are fucking savages.
Right.
Y'all don't give a fuck about nobody else. Y'all are fucking animals.
They're animals. So I slaughtered them like animals.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are animals. Y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all only give a fuck about war and hurting other people. But Idra, and honestly, we might be able to make an argument to say that Idra and Saul might be related to some extent.
Huh?
There's a possibility of that being what it is.
Oh, all right.
But I don't want to say that for sure. But I want to make an argument. I'm almost 1,000% sure that Saul is also from the South Blue.
Oh, all right. That's Saul. Yeah, yeah, maybe.
I think he is. I don't want to say for sure, but I'm gonna have to go back and look at it, after we have this conversation. I want to say that Saul is also truly from the South Blue. He is also a giant.
Right.
But um gosh, I kind of forgot the point that I was getting at when it came to that. Um how Saul seen, like I said, how he's seen the giants of Elbath is completely different than how Elbath seen the rest of the giant population.
Right.
As far as like Elbath. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna read over the next panel.
Yeah, go for it.
So
Just
say
read
we
two. Just read two panels, and we'll discuss, and then we'll do it like that.
okay, so you want to do two panels. Okay.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So um first panel as it is. Say we exchange diplomats with other nations. We could build a deeper cultural understanding. I see. So it's like a fancy hostage deal, huh? We see Harold. That's not it at all with a little drop of um like a little drop of perspiration to say like, oh, like it's really not what it is. People need to forge connections. Otherwise, international cooperation is impossible. Elbath, 81 years ago, Eastern fishing village. You finally had a baby? Ida, not Idra, excuse me. Ida, Hadruld, Harold, and Hadruld. Excuse me, I'm thinking about Hadruld. My bad. Ida, Harold, congratulations. Thank you. Ida and he's being cut off. Unfortunately, we can't recognize your marriage. Only pure blood can be permitted within the royal family. Damn it. Forgive me, Ida. All these issues boil down to cultures. Our feelings alone won't change things. You're all now we see somebody in the background
And she's
screaming out.
back.
You're always welcomed in our village, Ida. Then we see Ida talking to Hadrudin, her baby girl. I mean, baby boy. Isn't that great, Hadrudin? At least you're safe here near Papa. Then we see
Like she
him,
doesn't have a bad bone in her body.
no. Then we see in the panel right after Harold, meet your future bride,
She's a
Lady
baddie with a
Estrid.
baddie.
You look, boy. Okay. Lady Estrid carries the noble blood of ancient giants. We see her, Elbeth, the alcohol village, daughter of a prominent background, Estrid. I am fated to love you for the rest of my life. Forget about that Eastern woman and her bastard. Then we see King Harold with that same little drop of like confusion. Oh no, that's dot 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 dot. The energies here are aligned to the east. This won't do. This won't do at all. The king's spirit is leaking out. Quick, shut the windows. We see somebody saying, "What? What?" And that mirror is positioned in a lethal 5-star configuration. Dispose of it. That is the end of both panels.
Now, thoughts. So, like I said, I love the rom com that's going on between them. Like, she's sleeping, he's up working late right next to them. He's involved in like trade. You know, he's seeing new cultures. He's excited as hell to explore the world with her, right?
Hmm.
And then he gets the news that she can't be a part of the royal family because she's not of noble blood or whatever.
Right.
Heartbroken.
It changes how it forces him to look at it from a certain perspective. That right there might have been a big red flag for him to see, like, yo, the elders of Elbath were not willing to change for the betterment of the entirety of Elbath as a country
Right.
because they will not be willing to let go of the past.
Right.
But go ahead. I just wanted to say that.
So so then it's like it's like you can't help but to love Ida, right? She's just at first she reforms Harold, and then she's holding their baby where she has every right to be just upset. What do you mean? You don't love me anymore? Like she has every right to be that girl, but she's just like looking on the bright side of things. Like, hey, guess what? You still get to stay near your dad. Like, don't worry. Like, it's not about her. And then you
Yes.
contrast her with this baddie that's walking
With
around like,
Estes. Yeah.
she over here like seduction. So she's like, we were fated to be lovers, talking slick. She talking all that good shit. And Harold, bro, he's like, hey, look, when I first read this, I put my hands up like, hey, he had a sense of duty. You know
True.
what I'm saying? He had to do what he had to do for the nation.
But
but
you know what? I like looking at it. King Harold is strict at this
it almost
particular
looked like
point.
she's grabbing him by the throat a little bit, but she's really just touching
Well,
him.
metaphorically, she has him by the throat because we have King Harold who is trying to appease the people of Elbath, but also how do I say this? He wants to appease his heart and the people of Elbath, even though they both don't align,
Right.
right?
Almost like you got to pick one.
And that's what I mean. He has to appease the people of Elbath because at this particular time, bro, they were warriors, bro. The Elbathian 105 years ago, these motherfuckers were going to war.
Right. And they were raping and pillaging. They didn't give a fuck.
Well, let's not say raping because we don't know if that's what he was doing.
All right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Fair. Fair. Fair.
you know what I'm
Fair.
saying?
Fair.
But
Fair. I didn't mean to like.
they are,
It's more like
yeah,
a.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean when you say that. But let's just, you know what I'm saying? Because we're
I
still
think I'll
sorting it
have our
out.
editor edit that part out.
Well, yeah, just bleep it out. He doesn't have
Right.
to. He doesn't have to change what you're saying. But if
Yeah, yeah.
we're gonna look at
I'll have
Elbath,
our editor work on it. Don't you worry.
yeah, because if we look at Elbath for what they are essentially like if we and this is how I look at this is the common ground between Villain Saga and One Piece right now. Villain Saga The people of Vinland Saga, when they first went into Christianity, they are going through the exact same thing right now that Elbaf is going through. Like Elbaf is going through right now as the people, as the Vikings had to go through when they first went into Christianity,
Right, fair.
which is like, yo, your god, the gods that we have as Elbathians slash Vikings, we are a people who are like, yo, if you're not strong enough to get across what we're going through, you don't deserve to live.
Damn.
But Christianity, on the other hand, is like, yo, you have to care about the weak. You cannot, just because they're weaker than you are, that does not mean that you have to treat them as such, right?
Right.
Just because there are people who are more in the warrior culture, just because they're more docile than you are, does not mean that they are not as worthy of living as you are. Just because y'all have this culture that is dependent on you being strong, that's dependent on you fighting for what your beliefs are. Both sides, both cultures might fight for what we believe in, but we're fighting on it. We're fighting for what we believe on, what we believe in different aspects.
Yeah, rock and roll.
That's the difference of what Elbaf is going through right now. Like Elbaf with King Harold, they're going through what the Saxons went through. I mean, not the Saxons. They're the Vikings are going through right now what God, not Saxons, excuse me. Elbathians are going through what the Vikings went through when Christianity was first introduced to them.
Right. Okay. That's solid.
Because Christianity was already introduced to Saxons as a people. What Elbaf is going through, they're like, yo, if you can't protect your family, what the fuck is the point of Christianity? They're a
Well,
warrior culture. You can't protect your children.
I got.
You're gonna sit here and like, if we're gonna look at it for what it is, you're gonna sit here and tell me that I need to sacrifice my children, my child, my and all of my children might die because of this particular sect of religion.
Yeah, advice for what?
They have to die because they don't particularly look at it from your point of view. They have to die. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Like, no, sir.
Exactly. Right now, when we're looking at Elbath, how we're looking at Elbath is it is exactly how Vikings, and this is why I bring up fucking Vinland Saga, because you're just gonna sit here and tell these Vikings that, yo, just because y'all have a different religion, that my children have to die because they're not old enough to live based off of the point of view that I have, even though they've been based off of this living standards. You know what I'm saying? They have to die because they're not old enough to see this point of view that I'm coming from versus the point of view that you're coming from.
Right, and that's just not right. So, all right. So let's move on to the next panel.
Okay. So I'm gonna read the next panel. So we see Eastrid, who is his who is King Harold's true wife.
Right. She got her
Meet Asura.
naked horse.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the next panel. Meet Asura, the horse of good fortune. It's a fine steed worthy of you, your majesty. Consider it a gift from my family. It's sure to bring you good fortune. Then we see one of the guards, one of the royal guards saying, it's huge. Why does it have 8 legs?
Quite literally. I said the same thing, I swear.
Then we see guards take all of the take all of the jewels and gold to my room. We see an exclamation point and a question mark. Right after she says that, like, huh?
You're like, you want what?
All of it?
Okay.
The king's vicinity should be focused on the energies of earth and wind. The king's vicinity should be focused on the energies of earth and wind. That shit matters. That is more important than what anybody's gonna see it as right now. I'm telling you, as we read this particular chapter,
All right, keep
that
talking.
matters. The energies of earth and wind. Also, inform the servants that from today onward, the king and I take all our meals on silver platters.
And chicken.
No, I don't think. Sorry, hold on. You might need to cut little 2-3 seconds out because we had Mima Nana popped up. You know what I'm saying? Asked something.
Yeah, it's no biggie.
So
I'm not beat up about it. All right, come on.
so after she says the king and I will have all our meals served on silver platters. We see somebody who's a royal guard in their thought bubble saying, "Isn't that just indulgence?"
Mm.
70-ish years later, 70-ish years ago, in
So,
this age, the rough seas still made travel between islands difficult. Elbaf's advanced navigation techniques intrigued other countries. There is a star which, excuse me, there is a star which never moves called the pole star. We see somebody who is a human saying, oh, really? The kanji for XYZ is called the North Star.
no, solid.
Then we see later on in this chapter, King Harold, you met the fishman? And he says, yep, it's about time. I even saw mermaids. Their people carry the blood of the ocean. In their country, a prince was born by the name of Neptune. That matters. Keep that in mind. And it wasn't just fishmen and mermen around. The sea creatures themselves were coming together in jubilation. And we see them saying, wow, 63 years ago, Ulst castle, Elbath, while Harold was overseas. Congratulations, my king. It's a healthy baby boy. His name is Loki. I spoke with the king about it. As Estrid seen, she says, let me get a good look of my son's face.
Mm-mm.
We see Loki.
And the thing is, Loki looks so cool. And she is not having it.
Estrid is terrified. Huh?
He looks cool though, right? He's just a little baby. And them horns, and the eye. So his eyes make me think that there's nothing wrong with his eyes now. He just have them covered so that people aren't taken aback when they see him. You
He
see him?
has the look of King Harold. But at that particular time, the people who seen King Harold, because again, we also have to look at it from Estrid's point of view.
He's a monster.
She's of ancient giant blood,
They're
but
both
she's never seen an ancient giant.
right type shit.
She never recognized, like how I see it,
She doesn't
she
realize much
did
of
not know that the children who were ancient giants have the same aesthetic that Loki has.
But no, I think Loki's special.
Loki is special, but he's not special to the point. Okay, hold on. Before we get to what I'm saying, let me finish this chapter. Let me finish this particular panel out. Okay.
All right, go for it.
We see her dropping down, screaming, "Yeah, it's horrid." We see one of the women who helped her give birth saying, Your Highness." She says, "It's freaking me out. What is that?
That's so.
What is that? This can't possibly be mom."
That is the worst thing for that shit. Kind of hurt my soul when I read that. I was like, "Yo, I would hate for like your mom to say that about you. It's crazy, son."
But then we see, "Your Highness, please calm down."
Like, come here,
We
bitch.
see her with her eyes blackened out. "Tell the king it was a stillbirth."
That is the
This is utterly unacceptable. Then we see Loki in the panel right after that, holding out for his mom. Then we see her
just
with the same type of eyes as Emu, saying, "It's cursed. Just look at it. It is a monster."
mm, mm.
I'm just gonna be. I'm probably just gonna have to go ahead. We're just gonna have to go ahead and go through the next panel with this.
Yeah. Just
It's not fair to end it on that.
finish the chapter so we can talk and then wrap because this is already at an hour.
Brother, sometimes these podcasts, bro, we're gonna have to go longer than what we intended.
Yeah, I'm not beef about it, but still, go.
Okay, so when the Prince of Elbath stretched his arms into the air, no one was there to take those small hands in theirs.
It's
Your Highness,
strings. I'll give you that.
stop this. That's the prince. Then we see an epilogue. The epilogue, essentially. It is said that the most unfortunate souls are rejected from birth by their own mother. ... Listen to me. As Estrid says, No child was born today. I forbid you from telling anyone.
Forbid is crazy.
Where are you going? I'm returning to my village. I never want to give birth again. Your Highness,
Did she yeet?
Captain, it's come from
Yeet?
the realm of the dead. The realm of the dead? Dot, 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 question mark, exclamation. What about it?
Yo, I'm pretty sure she yeets him.
Uh, we see him climbing up on the tree, on the Adam tree, undyingly, with all of this that happened. We see him climbing up. We see him crying, coming up.
Yo, every time I
Soon
read it,
after,
I understand.
Queen Estrid collapsed due to an ill fate, to ill health, excuse me. Dispose of the child. It's becoming clear. This was the foretold long. Excuse me. It's clear this was foretold long before it came into this world. Again, before it came into this world, it is said that King Harold will be slain someday by his own son. Enough with this crazy talk is what one of the royal guards said. Enough of this crazy talk. Meanwhile, Harold struggled against the walls of diplomacy, blocked by the world government again. Why can't countries just be free? Then we see Ida, Hadrudin's mom, saying, "Hey, he's your little brother. Don't you want to see the little guy?"
Right, like,
Hadrudin himself says, "If he's not your child, mom, then there's no way I can call him my little brother."
mm,
Then we see Ida grabbing his face, saying, "Oh, sweetie, you're so cute, even when you say such awful things."
he's almost too naive.
From then on, every misfortune that struck Elbaf was chalked up to Loki's curse.
Mm, mm, mm.
From that point, every misfortune was chalked up to his curse. We have to take that into consideration because that means that is not the truth. But everybody of Elbaf said this is his fault that we're going through what we're going through. Whether it is the truth or not, this is his fault that we're going through what we're going through. We're suffering because of what he's done.
Mm, mm, mm.
Whether it is the truth or not, this is his fault. This is because of him, because he was born.
Mm.
It's his fault because it's his fault he was born. That's why we're going to blame him.
Not just he was born different. See,
It's his fault.
it's not just he was born, it was he was born different than the rest of us. And as a consequence, he doesn't even deserve to live. Dude, the way she yeeted him into the fucking sky and then
She dropped him from
just
the sky realm to the underworld.
yo, like yo, somebody get her a fucking football
Man.
contract, right? Because she's throwing them deep, son. It's like that right there, like even that alone, I'm just like they made her such like all right. So there are a few people in fiction that you hate more than Rachel from Tower of God, and she might just be one of them. There's like people in fiction you just hate, like Joffrey, right? Like Joffrey from Game of Thrones, but more
Uh huh.
specifically, Rachel from Tower of God. It's like she's worse than that guy, and that's hard to do.
Well, I haven't read all of. I haven't read. I'm not caught up even with
No,
Tower of God,
you need to be. You
but
don't need to be, but
I know who you're talking about. That's the girl who. The whole reason that old boy is going through what he's going through right now is because he wants to see her again.
right, and she's a terrible person. She goes out of her way to make shit like yeah, it's bad. But to yeet your own son into the fucking like you got to think about this, right? So she's a ancient giant with the strength of a
No, 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 no. She's
female.
not an ancient giant. She is of blood of ancient giants.
uh,
Based off how she did that right there, she's never seen someone who is actually an ancient giant
so her parents were ancient giants. So she's a
of
fucking
blood.
ancient giant.
No, Brian. She is not an ancient giant. Her parents are not ancient giants. They have the blood of ancient giants. There's a
It's like
difference.
in her bloodline, like
Yes, she has the blood of
she's
ancient giants.
crossbred enough to where she's just a regular giant with ancient blood.
Yes, she has the blood of ancient giants. Because when we see her compared to, when we see her as an adult, as we see, she is relatively, she might be a little bit bigger than most other giants.
Right.
She has the blood of ancient giants, but she
Didn't
herself
she
is
just earn-
not an ancient giant.
No, oh yeah, because she does. But here's the thing: do female ancient giants have horns?
Ancient giants,
Do
she
they?
doesn't have ancient giant blood. Like she has the blood of ancient giants, but she in herself is not an ancient giant.
Right.
We see other ancient giants right now, not ancient giants, but we see other children who was grown up with Colin. They also have at least a couple of them have the horns. They are not ancient giants, but they have the blood of ancient giants.
All right, I got it. But
Because
anyways,
right now, how
eat,
ancient giants are, you can have the blood of them, but that does not mean that you're going to be an ancient giant.
but to yeet your son into the fucking abyss,
She saw her son as a devil.
yo, like they literally took what is that syndrome called when mothers try to kill their children? Po,
I
po,
can't say for sure because I don't know.
Post traumatic stress.
Post traumatic stress, that could be possible. Yeah, we'll just say that as it is. Go ahead.
So they literally took that to the extreme. She seen this man and said, "Tell everybody it was a stillborn." Yeet! That's so fucking crazy, dude. Like it's insane. It's actually insane, bro. I felt so bad for Loki. You have no idea. I teared up a little bit. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
Loki was not wanted from the day he was born.
Like it from the day. Like it's like the man has never known, and
He's never known love.
he's still trying to protect Elbath, bro.
He
What?
cares.
What?
He's someone who has love, and he has so much love for his country that he's willing to even back the fact that he's not wanted here.
Oh, and that also ties in with what Luffy said. He says, "Doesn't seem like anybody else wants him."
And he said that as Loki is older than he is. Because as what we see it right now currently, Loki is in current times, he's like 30 years old. He's 30 years old. He's not wanted. He's not wanted.
It's crazy, man.
He's not wanted. His mom gave him up. His mom dropped him into the underworld of Elbath. And he climbed. This nigga climbed the tree. He climbed. He climbed
Yeah, as an infant.
as a baby. You see what I'm saying? He climbed that shit because he sees that I am meant more than what even my own mom dictated me to be.
Yo, I mean, it's craziness, man. It's so good though. It's like Oda cooked once again. So look, hey, did you get the chance to read the fan letter?
Let's not talk about the fair letter before we talk about this right here,
All right, what do you got to say?
brother.
Say what you gotta say.
If this is something a lot of people don't want. This is something Oda right here with this right here. He is touched on some shit that most people wouldn't even be able to comprehend. Your mom gave up on you before your father could even see about you. Think about that. Your mom tried to dictate how you live before your father could see you because King Harold was not around at this particular time. You feel me? He didn't know because King Harold had no clue about what was going on. He had no clue, no idea. His mom gave up on him from the moment of birth because again, she just gave birth to this boy, and she was willing to get out of bed, like because I want you to look at it like this. The when you give as a woman, I know you're not a woman, so you're not gonna truly comprehend the
I-
pain that you're going through after just giving birth to somebody, and as no man will ever be able to truly comprehend.
It's called postpartum psychosis when why loving moms sometimes hurt their babies. Postpartum psychosis, not PTSD.
Yeah,
So it's postpartum.
the moment she seen this little boy,
He never felt his own mother's touch, bro. That is cool.
brother. I'll go further with that. He never had love for the first, at least in Elbath time. He didn't know what love was for the first 15 years of his life.
Damn. And he's still walking around like that. And, yeah, you feel me?
His mom gave up on him the moment he was
So
born.
everybody gave up on him, bro. So it's like I'm curious to see what King Harold does when he finally gets back. Can we theorize about that? Like because clearly he's at a position where Harold summons him, right?
Hmm.
The chapter before, so he's able
Yeah,
to walk around Elbath. So
because
what is that
go
like
ahead.
when King Harold gets back and he realizes that his son was yeeted into the abyss? Is he does his stepmom raise him? You know, does the
I think honestly, uh, Moshi or the person who he talks to, that might be his stepmom. That might be Hadruden's mom.
right? That's like
That's
the
my
most
theory.
logical
I think
conclusion.
the person who he talks to is Hadruden's mom, either because we see how she talks about him,
Right? She's
even in that particular part,
like
because she tells Hadruden, "This is your little brother."
Like, yo, you're not about to be acting stupid with your little brother. Like, even when you talking crazy, I still love you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because she says you're so cute, even though the way that you're talking about him. She understands we're all giants. Even though you don't want to recognize him as your brother, that's still your brother. And this is, for me, how I look at it. This is Hadrudin having a conflicting scenario between his warrior blood and the blood of his mom, if that makes sense.
hmm.
That's still your brother. Whether you want to see him as such or not, it doesn't matter. That is who you're related to.
Right, right. That's blood.
You cannot disregard that just because he is of a different just because he is of different
Because you don't have the same mom.
yeah,
And
this matters. You have to care about him. That doesn't mean you have to love him the way that you love me or you love XYZ other person who you know who you came to care about, right?
but you do have to love him.
Exactly. Again, and we can even use this for the particular scenario that we're in. We're half brothers.
Right. But
That
I've
doesn't
always treated
mean
you guys like you were just family. I never really.
exactly. You never made a different. You never look. You love me just like you love your sister, your true 100% blood sister.
I don't have a all my siblings are half siblings.
True, but the sister that you grew up with, you're not gonna love. Like, and you might have, different point POV. You know what I'm saying? You might love them.
Yeah, like yeah, she has more time, right? Like I spent
Yeah,
more time with her.
and that's what I'm saying. Like,
Right, right,
and
right.
again, I don't want to talk about our personal stuff, but you get where I'm coming from.
Right, right,
You
right.
love them, you love her just as much as you love me.
Truly, I love you
Just
all.
because
I
we
love
aren't
all 20 of my brothers and sisters, bro. Love all of you.
exactly. You're not gonna look at it as like, oh, just because you're my half sibling, that doesn't mean I'm gonna love you less than what I love this person who I grew up with, that I remember that I've had since day one for a particular person. I'm not going to love you any less than I love them. You're my brother. You're my sister. I'm going to love you regardless of how much time we spent together. We have to look at it from the point of Hadrudin. He's looking at it from the point of view like, yo, he's not my full brother. We don't have the same mom and dad. Why am I going to care more about him than I care about someone who I just who's how am I going to love them more than I love somebody who I just hung out with all my life?
Like you like and you know what? I am also curious to see how Druden and Loki interact when they first meet. Because literally Loki has gone through more in his life than Hadruden ever has in the first day of his life.
Yeah. How Jordan, bro, in the chapter that we see the difference. How Jordan was happy on the day he was born. We see him being held by his mom.
Right.
Loki did not have that. This nigga was, don't you dare tell King Harold
Like
about this motherfucker.
don't
You
even
tell
tell
him he
anybody
was a
that
stillborn.
don't
Think
even tell
about
people
that.
that he exists. Yeah.
Yeah, don't even let King Harold know this motherfucker was born. You
Which is
tell him that his second
wild.
child died. You tell this nigga his second child died.
Died at birth is crazy, son. Yo, but look, we should maybe continue this talk on another pocket. Like we should do a part 2 tomorrow.